Would You Write It? Hi, I'm Nanea Taylor, and I get the honor of sitting down with creatives like actors, producers, directors, and writers to delve into their creative process. So if you are interested in the art of storytelling, you're in the right place. So hit that subscribe button and let's get started. I am so very pleased to introduce and have a guest on How Would You Write It, Leah Simmons. She is a genre screenwriter from South Dakota, specializing in horror and sci-fi that ranges from deep exploration of humanity's darker nature to laugh out loud funny. In 2020, Leah and a group of friends shot a roller derby horror feature called Valentine Crush, and I got a chance to watch the screener, and it's really good. I liked it. We're going to talk about that, actually, in just 7 days. She is currently seeking distribution for Valentine's Crush. When she's not writing or roller skating, Leah is outside zipping around in cute outfits. As you can see right now, she has the cutest top on and on her new scooter and going mushroom hunting with her 7-year-old son. Thank you so much, Leah, for joining us on How Would You Write It?
Thanks for having me. Yeah. Any excuse to dress up, I'm there.
You look so cute. I love it.
Thanks.
So let's talk about, let's just talk about first your intro into how did your beginnings into writing and screenwriting. Did you start with novel writing, or did you just jump right into screenwriting?
I'd always been like a writer. I think everybody, liked to write stories and comic books as a kid, and I just never did anything with it. Had like little boxes full of little stories. And in 2017, I got a traumatic brain injury playing roller derby, and part of my recovery was writing. My doctor's like, "This is actually a great way for your brain to heal," and so I would go to the library and I'd sit there with like my laptop and I would force myself to write. And I'm like, well, what am I going to write about? Just started writing short stories. Later that year, my friend Robert was putting together a fictionized podcast. It's called Edge Case. It was going to be sci-fi and horror. And I'd sent him some of my script or some of my stories and was like, I don't know anything about scripts, but I think these might be a fit. And he's like, these are good. Can you make them into scripts? And I'm like, of course I can. Thanks, Google. Yeah, so I Googled it, found a template. I think every screenwriter starts like in Google Docs, just like, so
Listen, I
bad.
got Screenwriters for Dummies.
Oh yeah, I mean, I didn't get a book. I was just like, I'm gonna jump in here. I think I went to Reddit a few times, but it worked out great, and it was so fun to not just write a story and share it with somebody, but also like we had voice actors collaborating. I had a director, and that was I think what really sparked it for me with screenwriting was it was this true like collaborative like team sport really. You're telling the story and you're getting input and you're working with people who can bring your characters to life, which is just like the coolest thing ever. So that's really where it all kind of started.
I love that. Now with Valentine's Crush, which you guys shot, and it's about roller derby. It has the
Yes.
subplot is that the protagonist is a roller derby.
She's a derby. She's a roller derby star. She's
star?
the
And
MVP.
she's the star of her team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she seems like, and her name is Vicky Valentine.
Yep.
And she seems like she has some anger issues.
Yes.
Some anger issues, and I think roller derby. When I was looking, I said, well, roller derby is a great place to get that.
It is nice to hit people. I won't lie.
So I'm not going to ask you what influenced you to write it, knowing that the history of you performing and being into roller derby. So I'm assuming that influenced you to write Valentine's Crush. But with this being a horror, because I don't want to give away too much of it. But you had a line in there that I love at the beginning of it, where one of her friends is giving her a hug. One of her the players on the team is giving her a hug, and she's just like, "Oh my God, you just smell like raccoon's ass." And I was like, "I've never heard that before in my life." And I was just, I'm gonna use that in the future. That is so good. You
roller derby people smell. We smell really bad, like hockey pads bad, and like that's why like a running gag is after a game we would always have an after bout party. So both teams go to the bar after a game, and they party with fans. And if a roller derby girl asks if you want to smell her perfume, the answer is always no, because your wrist guards smell the worst. And I don't know.
Ooh.
I mean, I've been playing derby long enough. It's always somebody that'll say, "Oh, I'll smell your perfume," and just like, ah, ah. Like
Because you don't know any
I would
better.
admit, I'm terrible. I would like never wash my derby pads. I mostly because I'm lazy.
Hmm.
I would just tell everybody I didn't want the luck to wash off, and so it
Hmm.
just has to stay stinky.
But okay, so tell me how, since tell me the concept of changing it from just, about, playing the game and dealing with whatever under layer thing that she has going on that has caused her to have all this anger, for you to
Yeah.
switch it to horror.
So, roller derby is a unique sport because it's an amateur contact sport for women,
Hmm.
um, and non-binary people. It's a very inclusive sport, which I love.
Hmm.
But it's an interesting sport because you have a derby name. Like
Hmm.
way back, because I'm a derby old, like I've been playing for like 14 years. So when I joined the team, you actually had to register your name. There was an online list. You had to petition. It had to be a unique name or you wouldn't get to put it on the list. And you become this other person. So for like 14 years, I was Julia Wild. I would skate with the Sioux
Wow.
Falls roller dolls. And it's so funny because I'll still run into people that don't know me by any other name but Julia. And it's this weird thing where, I mean, I'm a totally different person on the track. Um,
You
I
have to
love
be. You
hitting.
have to. You have
I'm
to be.
a real jerk on the track. I love to hit really hard. I used to do this thing where it's called eat the baby, where like the other blocker gets away and you would like suck them back into the pack and let your team attack them. Yeah, I'd be
Mm.
really mean. If it helps, as far as I know, I only broke one person's arm, and it
Oh
was a
my
legal hit,
God.
so we're good. But there's a lot of people that see derby as this way to kind of escape from your everyday life and become this other person, and that's good and bad. And so with a character like Vicky, she sees Derby as this escape, this way for she can be this powerful person, but she still hasn't reconciled like the issues that she has outside the track.
Yes.
So you see that kind of in the movie with her friend who's just there to have fun, and Vicky is there to kick ass and take names. She's mad they can't win. She's mad their teammates are just there goofing around because
Mm-hmm.
all she wants to do is play because this is where she's in control.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now okay, like you stated, you go after the game, you go to the bar. And
Hmm.
while she's at the bar, she meets Bo, her big who a stranger
Her,
to her,
her number one fan.
her number one fan. And she stays a little too long. She drinks a little bit too much. So
Never
when
did
she comes
that.
out, yeah, when she comes out, her car won't start. And her number one fan, Bo, says, "Hey, I can give you a ride."
Just happens to be there.
Yeah, so then that is when the crazy starts to happen, because as you can think of allowing a stranger to give you a ride home, how that can go left. And so if you have any thoughts about how it can go left, you don't really have it, because this goes crazy. This
It was
goes
hard.
crazy.
I've had so many people that are just like, why would you get a ride home from somewhere in the bar? And I was like, you're not from the Midwest. Trust me. Like,
Yeah,
people
I
here
mean, I
are
totally get
way
it. Like
more
you're like,
trusting.
oh, it's going down a country road. It's a few
Yeah,
minutes
there's
from the
no
bar.
Ubers in the middle of the country. Like, you don't have taxis here. Are you kidding?
Yeah. Now, once the other scene, because again, I don't want to give everything away to it, because I think that if you allow me to, I'm going to link it um, here so people can go watch it themselves. But there are a couple fight scenes, and I love the fact that I'm always yelling at the screen when you have someone, they'll hit someone, and then that they'll hit them once.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I love the fact that you allowed her to tear someone up multiple times. And I'm
Hmm.
just like, yeah, keep hitting, keep hitting, keep hitting,
He
keep
deserves
hitting
all of this.
until they can.
Yeah, it was
And
a it
that's
was a
where my
very
anger
physical.
issues are.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very physical role. The Kate, who was the actress that played Vicky, she's a local actress out of Omaha.
Mm-hmm.
Just the sweetest person, and like I said, she was all in for these physical roles where we're like, you're gonna need to, run through cornfields. You're gonna have to learn how to skate and play roller derby. You're gonna have to fall down the stairs. You're gonna have to attack this guy. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and she was down for it. Like, God bless actors for
And
being
you
weird
said
little
she's
freaks.
sweet. Well, she played
Oh,
this role.
she's like a Reese Witherspoon like rom-com kind of person, and that's why I was so shocked when she went through her audition. Like she just like transformed into Vicky, and it was so incredible.
Yeah, because Vicky, the anger that she can't, because I was like, when it happened, when it went left, I was like, you picked the wrong person. Like, I
Right?
was like, this is not going to go well for you.
Right.
Like, this is just not gonna go well for you. I was like, did you not see her on the skating? Did you not see how much anger she has? That's not the person you pick. You pick the person who's docile. You pick
Exactly.
that person. You pick the person with the biggest anger. I
I
wouldn't
mean,
have.
she's small. I guess that was
I mean,
maybe
she's
the
petite, but did you not
mm-hmm.
see her knocking people out? Like, I mean,
You
she
learn
got,
that quick in the sport.
penalized and put in the penalty box for punching somebody in the face. I was just like, and that's the person you choose to take home with you. Okay. All right, dude. So tell me about writing it and getting it into production. Like, how did that go? How did you say, you know what, we need to make this into a film? How did that go?
It wasn't really my idea. I'd actually written it as a script for the podcast. Well, Robert's wife got sick and season 2 got canceled. I was like, well, great. I've got this script that I want to turn into a show. So I
Mm-hmm.
reached out to a friend of mine, Jamie. He used to bring indie screenings here to Sioux Falls, and I just happened to send it to him, and he's like, "This is really cool. We should shoot this movie." I'm like, "Ha ha ha! We should." It's like, "No, really, we should shoot this movie." So we did pre-production. It was about like 4 months. I mean, because we decided to do this about like February of
Mm-hmm.
2020, and then lockdown happens, and
Lockdown.
now we're like, well, it was the one of the things was like that double-edged sword where we had this opportunity because now there were suddenly all these people we knew that were available to help us because they were furlonged, they were canceling tours. And we just kind of told ourselves, like, if we were able to scrape up enough money to rent equipment and find locations,
Mm-hmm.
let's just do this. And our thought process was like, I think if we can get the movie in the can and then do a Kickstarter to pay for the post production, we might have a chance to make this work.
Mm-hmm.
So we called like every favor we knew. Like I said, we found our great leads. I had plenty of roller derby people that were itching to skate. And that, in fact, my workplace during the day, I work in HVAC. My boss lent us a couple industrial air cleaners or air purifiers, so we were able to use those for the crowd scenes to keep everybody safe. Because again, this is the height of COVID, and we
Mm-hmm.
had 8 days to shoot because that is the most days our director could get off from the Olive Garden where he was the manager. So we had 8 days to shoot. We had, I think, our crew was like 10,
Mm-hmm.
and we had free locations. So and the weather was kind of cooperating. I think our first couple of days it was like 80 degrees. Our last couple of days it was like 40 degrees. So yes, the cornfield scenes where Kate's wearing like her little booty shorts and a tank top,
Mm-hmm.
it was like 42 degrees.
Oh, I know she's
Oh,
freezing.
it was brutal. I was the blanket person, so she would get done with the take, and as soon as it was cut, it was blanket on Kate, try to keep her warm.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow we did it. We shot it in 8 days. We also shot 2 music videos because we're insane. And no one got sick, no one got injured, nothing got broken.
And that's another thing with this. I noticed that you have a lot of music throughout, especially in the bar
Yeah.
scene.
So I kind of describe this as like a musical love letter to roller derby. And the reason
Mm-hmm.
why is Jamie, again, with this whole movie thing, he also knew a bunch of musicians. And all the musicians we knew had their tours canceled. And so he reached out to people trying to build a soundtrack and said, hey, would you want to contribute a song to our music soundtrack? We had, I think, 3 original songs written for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the musicians were like, if you had a part for me, I'd come out and help. So
Oh,
we
that's
had
cute.
probably like 6 musicians that were, in crew, cast, just jumping in and helping with anything they could. So it was so fun. Kristen Ford, who plays Knockout Nancy, she's now under Righteous Babes records with Ani DeFranco and touring around the country. She wrote 2 original songs for it and was just awesome. Yeah, it was great. And it was great for us in the Kickstarter because we had this awesome soundtrack that was all women fronted bands or women musicians.
Mm-hmm.
We also released a double vinyl soundtrack with the
Oh,
Kickstarter.
did you?
So yes, so I should have grabbed it. Can I show you this gorgeous 2 vinyl set that you can buy that came with our initial package. So we had all these musicians that then became our like second tier to promote this, saying, "Hey, I have a song in the soundtrack. You can contribute to our Kickstarter to get the movie
That's
made." And then
smart.
yeah, so then we also got them records to sell at their shows, and so yeah, it was great. It was a lot of work.
I'm sure.
But and like dealing with the contracts with record companies is also not like super fun, but it was great, and I really think it enhances the experience in the movie. There's some dance scenes, and like if you're, Jamie was very intentional with the songs he chose. They really
Yeah, the
inform like
intentionality of the scenes and the
and they're
songs
all
playing
over the
were,
place. We
yeah.
have rap, we have ska, we have
Mm-hmm.
bluegrass, we have soul and folk.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love that it's not all just one thing, which again kind of like ties into what roller derby's all about. It's this inclusive sport everywhere from the coast to the countryside. There's these people skating and bringing their own attitudes to the track. So I really love that as a skater. I did
Mm-hmm.
hate that I got stuck doing the subtitles, and it's really hard to tell the subtitle the dialogue from the the words of the songs and
Mm-hmm.
where you want to keep it and where you don't. But otherwise, it really just enhanced the experience.
I loved it. I thought that, and hearing how you all did that, that is just a great idea for anyone else. I know, like you
Yeah, I
said, the
mean,
music industry contracts with dealing with the contracts of releasing this, that song for the movie is can be painful, but that's a great promotion. If you
yeah,
also have the singers and the songwriters like promoting it too.
and it helped on the festival circuit too. So we did about 2 years of festival circuit. Again, like things were just kind of opening up in 2021. We got through post production, but we were trying to pick festivals in towns where the musicians were at so that they
Uh-huh.
could come in and see it on the big screen and be there with our fans. And Jamie and I tried to travel as much as possible and be there. We'd bring merch, and yeah, it was really fun. For like 2 years, it was kind of like my life was just promoting the movie and um, just loving being in audiences. There's like two scenes that I just love looking around
Hmm.
the crowd just to see the reactions from people, and it's like the best feeling ever.
I love it. I love it. One of my is not one of, well, one of my favorite scenes is the very, very last scene though, because I thought it was so pitch perfect where she's skating down the country road.
You know what's really crazy is that whole week we were dealing with construction because they were refinishing that road, and it was literally like the last day they had that fresh surface down. It was just it's fate, I guess.
Oh, it had to be
Also, a lot
perfect.
easier for
The
Kate.
aerial shot of it was just
Yeah, we did quite
perfect.
a few drone shots, and that slow drone shot worked out so well.
It was so beautiful and perfect.
And
So
you might have noticed too at the very end, the last end credits was we dedicated the movie to Jamie's mother. She had passed away of breast cancer before we actually even started pre-production, and it was a large part of the inheritance Jamie had that he fueled into the film for our startup fund. So it was really kind of a emotional sort of testament to see her name on the screen the first time too.
wow. So everyone, if if Leah allows me to, I'm gonna link the movie, and I highly suggest everyone goes and takes a peek, and sees her craft and sees Jamie's craft as a director, and look at the actors here. It's a 7-day May movie, but the storytelling is wonderful. The acting is good, and the just the shots are very, very well. I highly recommend everyone look at it because I sat and watched it and it was like, okay. Because like I said, the lead actress enthralled me from the very beginning because I was trying to figure out like why is she so angry? Like who peed in her cornflakes, as they used to say. But knowing that and watching the pacing and watching how what happens to her and how she gets out of it. And for a little while there, she's a little uncertain of herself and how it's going to be. And she's scared a little while. But then
Hmm.
I'm just like, well, maybe she won't. This is a horror. But at the very end, she rallies. The way she would rally if she was at a roller derby game, And so
Hmm.
I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed this film. What else do you have coming up, Leah, that we can see?
I actually have a short we just wrapped on. I've got a friend of mine, like I said, you find collaborators in the strangest places. My friend Dale and I met being crew for a local director, and he's a master plumber and he wants to get into filmmaking. And so we did a short 2 years ago called Unfinished Business about somebody hiring an exorcist off of Facebook Marketplace.
On
And then
Facebook
just
Marketplace.
you
I
can
love
see
it.
it's a comedy.
Mhm.
And then this last month we just wrapped on it's more hard horror. It's a short called Her Name is Tilly too. It's about a widower who becomes friends with a chatbot that then becomes obsessed with him. So I'm excited to see. And I this was like the first time I wasn't on set for it, so I was like I felt terrible. I bought snacks for everybody, but I'm really excited to see how it works. We're trying to do something called data moshing. I believe that's the right term, where you kind of glitch out some of the visual effects because Tilly, the chatbot, kind of like finds a way to enter reality, and so we wanted to kind of make it look distorted and weird. So I'm really excited to see that one come out.
Well, I'm so excited about that too. Whenever you're ready, come on back and
Yeah,
we can talk about it and promote it here on How Would You Write It.
definitely.
Now, where can folks find you? Where can they find you on social
I'm
media?
usually hanging out on BlueSky. Honestly, I always tell everybody that my handle everywhere is Leah from South Dakota because nobody knows anybody from South Dakota, let alone
I
Leah.
don't. You're my
So
first person.
there's less than a million of us. We're very rare. But like honestly, if you just Google Leah from South Dakota, you'll find us. Otherwise, my handle is Leah from SD on BlueSky, so you can find me there.
And I'll link it and I'll leave
Oh,
her
perfect.
social media link in the comments here. Now, thank you so much, Leah, for joining us. But I have to go with the how would you write it question that I give every guest. Every guest. If is there any current IP, past or future, film or books or novels that if you had a chance to work on set for, in front of the camera, behind the camera, in the writer's room, what would that IP be, and what would you bless it with?
I am a huge Margaret Atwood fan. A lot of my features really kind of skewer towards, like I said, they're very female centered. They really talk about, women trapped in, misogynistic society, body autonomy. And I think one of the very first books I read of hers was a book called The Blind Assassin. It came out in early 2000. It's not a super well known book,
I
but
don't remember that from Margaret Atwood. You said The
I
Blind
read
Assassin?
the Blind Assassin, and it's very. I mean, I think I read it at the right age. I was like, you know, probably 18 years old, and what I really love it. It's a story about two sisters, and they're it's kind of told in flashbacks from the main character Iris, who's looking back at her life and how her and her sister were so close, and then their lives were kind of pulled apart by these men that they were in love with, and then interwoven is this like pulpy sci-fi story called The Blind Assassin about this person on a different planet that is blind but uses their amazing abilities to infiltrate places, and how that sort of interplays with what the two sisters are going through. It's just a really fascinating, sophisticated kind of story that I think would make such an interesting feature. I don't know how I would actually process it into something just because it is very dense, but
Mm-hmm.
I would love the opportunity just because it's a story that I really love. And like sisterhood bonds are another story that are another theme that comes through a lot of my work. I'm really close to my sister Laura. We're 2 years apart, so we were always like best friends growing up. We
Mm-hmm.
literally have matching tattoos.
Love it.
Story for another day. If anyone wants to guess what that is, it's not what
Is
you
that a
think it is.
horseshoe?
Nope.
Is it an astrology sign?
Nope. Do you want me to tell you what it is?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's a toilet seat.
Let me see it again. It is.
So my sister and I have this long time like running joke grudge about who said this joke about a toilet seat. Like this is like we were 7 or 8 years old.
Mm-hmm,
And like we've refused to drop it. Like my
mm-hmm.
family doesn't want to talk about it. So like 5, 6 years ago, I told my sister, she's like, we should get sister tattoos. I was like, we got to get right. So yes, we each have a matching toilet seat tattoo
I
on our
love
wrists.
that.
Yes. So, like I said, the strong sisterhood bonds doesn't have to involve toiletry tattoos. But if I had an opportunity, that would be the thing I would love to write as far as IP.
I love that. I love that. I have to go and look that up because I haven't heard of The Blind Assassin by Margaret Atwood. I like Margaret Atwood too.
Yeah, I
Um,
really love her stuff that leans more into the sci-fi too. Like The Handmaid's Tale's great, but obviously there's already a show about that, and um, probably missed the boat on that. But I do love, like I said, love more of her sci-fi stuff, and would love to see some of that kind of stuff, I guess, enter into the filmography.
have you thought about maybe just focusing on the blind assassin portion of it since it's so dense, just focusing on creating a script for just that portion of the story, and then later on bring in the sister story
Maybe,
because
it
you're
could
into
even work as
sci-fi.
like it could work as a mini series even too, because you have so many different threads of the story. And they're all different timelines. So some of it's happening in the present, some is happening in like, the 20s, and some of it's happening in other planets. So yeah, I don't know. It could be interesting to go either way. I definitely have more experience with features than pilots, but again, I'm up for about anything that's fun.
I love it. And I just want to thank you so much, Leah, for taking the time to come on to How Would You Write It? I want you to come back when you're ready for your other two movies that are films that are coming out shortly. And if you ever just want to come on and just talk about film and writing,
Anytime.
come on to How Would You Write It? I just want to say to the audience that, being a creative is sometimes, lonely, difficult, discouraging, and hard to do. But you have this gift for a reason. You've been blessed with this gift for a reason. So even if you reach one person and one person likes your work and you've inspired them in some way, that's good enough. That's the reason why you've been blessed. So keep on going, keep on pushing out there, sitting in front of your keyboard, notebook, or canvas, or camera, behind the camera, and doing what you've been blessed to do. And if no one has told you today that they believe in you, I'm telling you, I believe in you. So keep going, and we'll see you next time on How Would You Write It?